Greetings, fellow Gorehounds. Before we begin this review, I want to first remind all of you that SAG-AFTRA and the WGA, the Actors Guild and the Writers Guild, are still currently on strike. So I'm going to include in the description of this video a link to both of their websites so that you can further educate yourself on why exactly these two guilds are striking, as well as a link to the Entertainment Fund if you want to help them more directly. And as you probably already know, movies cannot get made without writers and actors, as much as the rich fucks in charge want to convince all of you that they can be replaced with AI. They can't, and they shouldn't be replaced with AI. So fuck the corporates, support the unions, and let's get on with this review. Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about the new Shudder original, Bad Things, which is a movie by the writer-director Stewart Thorndike, who is a lesbian woman who makes movies about lesbian women. And this film is no different. It's kind of like a low-budget lesbian take on The Shining. It's about four women who are spending one last night in this hotel that one of the women inherited from their dearly departed grandmother, and she's got to make the final decision the next day on whether or not to sell the hotel or to, open it up and run it herself. But things go wrong when some of the women start to see things that are weird throughout the hotel and murders start to happen.
Special guest star Molly Ringwald.
Special guest star Molly Ringwald. She shows up for a very effective cameo in this movie. It's one of the best scenes in this movie, actually.
Yeah.
I actually ended up really enjoying this movie, though I didn't love it. I feel like it's a movie that almost reaches the level of greatness, but doesn't quite get there. And it kind of can't, because it's kind of limited by what it can do.
Yeah. It's a movie where you feel it limited by its budget.
And that's mainly because it's hard not to watch it while comparing it to something like The Shining.
Yeah.
And The Shining, that was a relatively decently budgeted film with big bombastic horror scenes and big sweeping shots. Whereas this is a much smaller movie in a smaller hotel.
Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of the early 90s slashers that they would put out on video and cable.
I could totally see that.
Some of the better ones of those.
I could totally see that, in terms of its look and its feel.
In terms of its
100%.
Look, in terms of its feel, in terms
its editing
of
style.
Scope and editing style. Yeah, exactly.
100%. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah, one thing that probably is worth mentioning, if you are a lady that dates ladies, you have dated one of these ladies.
Yes.
Probably more than one.
Absolutely. That actually leads me to my two big warnings going into this movie. The first warning is the most obvious warning that you probably already figured. This is a slow burn film. It takes a while for things to start happening. So just hang in there, because trust me, there's a point really early on where you're probably going to want to turn it off, because these characters, and this is point number 2, are incredibly unlikable.
I don't know about well, some of them are definitely incredibly unlikable. The others, I feel, are just kind of bitchy as hell.
I would agree. Some are worse than others, but it is a case where you're dealing with these four women's interpersonal conflicts for the first half of the movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of lesbian drama.
It's a lot of she wants to fuck her, but she's dating her kind of stuff.
The great passive aggression has been released in this movie. Holy crap.
Everyone is a bitch to someone else at some point in this beginning.
Yeah, someone is really, really, really cruel to somebody.
Some movies are a this one bitch movie, as in it wouldn't have played out that way if it wasn't for this one bitch screwing it for everyone. But I'm honestly convinced, even though there is mainly one perpetrator by the end of this movie, this is a these bitches movie.
Oh, yeah. It's four women that you find yourself going, oh my God, you're all nuts. You need to stop.
Yeah, but it's a testament to how well done the movie actually is, that despite me not liking pretty much any of these women, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this story play out.
Yeah. Everyone's a really good actor here.
They all do a great job in their roles. Even Molly Ringwald, when she shows up.
Yeah, even Molly Ringwald, she's unrecognizable.
Yeah, she has not lost her edge one bit. She's got it.
It is funny watching her play hot MILF role.
I know. It is weird. On top of the psychological, we're seeing freaky stuff inside the hotel, and on top of the murdering that happens over the course of the movie, there's also some creepy and uncomfortable. I don't know what the word for it is because it's edible if you're a guy.
Oh, but what if you're a woman who might be sexually attracted to her mother?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still technically an edible complex.
Is it still edible? Okay,
I think it's
edible?
still technically an edible complex because I think it's named for the parent. Yeah, it really is like The Shining if it was 4 lesbians in an abandoned hotel who have all at one point slept with each other.
Yeah, and there's some weird edible complexes happening throughout. I will issue one correction to both of us, though. One of them is non-binary. I only caught that way later on in the movie when they started referring to them as them. And
I know what you mean. Like, by the time that actually came up, my brain had already
my brain had locked into 4 women,
Yeah. It's definitely 4 lesbians.
Even though they're non-binary, it's very much lesbian drama happening.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I thought was really fucking interesting, with one important exception, that being the main character. You thoroughly understand why everyone's doing everything that they're doing. You don't really understand the main character till the end. Her actions are a little bit more, well, bitch, isn't this your fault? Like, you did that. Why are you being such a... And they get into it.
Yeah, it's one of those, there's reveals that happen over the course of this story that explain some things.
Yeah, like the trans woman is hoping to like kind of rekindle their relationship.
Yeah, she's in a relationship with the main character, secretly hoping that the main character is going to propose to her over the course of the night. They invited their friend who invited this other woman. Now, their friend wants to sleep with the trans woman.
Yes.
And wants to be with the trans woman and is really mad that the trans woman is with this bitch.
Yeah.
And so this friend, who is the non-binary character by the by, invites another friend that no one else in the group seems to like for the sole purpose of getting the main character to sleep with this other friend and thus, in turn, cheat on the trans woman. It's all very messy and much tea is spilled.
Of the 4, the trans woman is the least at fault.
Yes.
You know, the main problem...
She's the one trying to see the best in everyone to a fault.
Yes. Yeah. And you find yourself going like, well, that's dumb for you, but I can't
entirely fault you for trying.
I can't be mad at you for trying.
Yeah. Though she has one thing that actually really bugs me, where I'm just like, why did you do this? So it's established really early on that the main character has some very bad trauma associated with this hotel.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's just me, but I'm like, I have trauma over this building that my grandmother left to me. I'd just be like, well, fuck it, sell it. Fuck it, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you insisting on her keeping it, which she does. She wants her to keep it. When she should clearly sell it. She could clearly make a lot of money on it. It's a decent hotel.
Yeah, it's all right. Like, it needs some work.
Sure.
But it requires a lot of work, and you gotta be there.
Yeah.
So
sell it to the Hilton or something.
Yes, sell to a franchise. Get your fucking check, move on.
Wash your hands of that trauma there.
Yeah. Just be like, nah, fuck this, I'm out.
But instead, her girlfriend's just like, no, you should keep it, and we should open it up, and we should run it together. And I'm like, that's all cute, but
that's not a good idea.
I feel like you're putting your dream of running this hotel as more important than your girlfriend's literal trauma associated with the hotel.
Yeah. So that's kind of her fault because it feels like she's trying to, the trans woman's trying to get the main character to keep this hotel because it will somehow fix their relationship.
Yeah.
And you're like, nah.
Yeah, because it's also established that the main character has cheated on her in the past, and this is
multiple times.
A reoccurring problem.
The main character is the most at fault, and she is the most, oh my God, will you stop bothering people?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. And the 4th woman in this equation is the friend that has obviously been brought in by the non-binary friend to disrupt the relationship of the other 2. And she is this gothy chick who apparently has a cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
She's the one on the brink of death, as they say.
Yeah.
And also apparently has the ability to see ghosts, according to her. She claims this.
The one thing you do know for certain is that she has a savior complex.
Yes. And over the course of this movie, she sees spooky shit throughout the hotel. Now, the movie definitely does that thing where you're like, is she really seeing these things or is she losing her mind? Is her cancer going to her brain?
Yeah.
And she is now seeing things that aren't there. Or is she just crazy to begin with? And it's a question throughout the movie. Because the movie establishes early on that a lot of bad things have happened to women in this hotel, which again, I do not know why she's insisting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Her girlfriend opening up this hotel.
No fucking kidding. And it also tends to happen to women who were there under potential lesbian pretexts.
Yeah.
But it was before the day where you could just be out.
Yep.
So you're like, that's double a bad idea.
So that's where the title of the movie comes from, Bad Things.
Bad Things.
Because bad things happen to women in this hotel. And when you're in this hotel, you want to do bad things. I do not think it's a movie that's going to truly blow your mind. It is a bit of a mind fuck, because there is a question throughout the movie of what's real and what's not. And you're going to reach the end of the movie and start wondering if things even happen.
Yeah, but if you've seen a lot of horror movies, it's going to be one of the things that you come up with in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
100%.
you just don't know which one it's going to be until, like, you get to that third act.
And at first, like, it's just like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. But to my surprise, as the movie went on, I got enthralled in it. And I got, like...
I found myself being totally interested because I'm like, I already kind of guessed what was going to happen, but I'm still so fascinated with how the movie is going to handle it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, especially at the end where you're like, okay, now they got to make the reveal. It's one of two things, and they have to reveal it because it's that kind of film.
And the ending definitely leans one way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at least from my perspective, it does. And we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section.
Yeah. It's not a deep movie. Well, actually, it's deeper than a lot of films, but it's not like...
It's deeper than your average horror film, like a slasher film. It's deeper than any of those.
Yeah, but it's not a Beau is Afraid.
No, it's not Beau is Afraid.
You know, it doesn't go into that kind of territory.
It's not that level of complicated.
Yeah.
There is a puzzle to be unraveled by the end of it, and you pretty much get the picture by the end of it.
Yeah.
It is currently available on Shudder. I'm sure it will hit other streaming platforms at some point, but right now it is a Shudder original, so if you're subscribed to Shudder, go watch it now. If you're looking for a good lesbian horror film to watch and support LGBT horror, then this is a good choice.
Oh, before we move on to the spoilers, I kind of hand it to the writer-director.
Yeah.
I never wanted to walk away.
Yeah, I never did too.
I was always like, all right, what's happening next? What's happening? I gotta know.
Yeah.
I gotta fucking know.
I will say this. I have one criticism before we move on to the spoilers.
Okay.
And it's just, at times, I think it might crib The Shining a little too much.
I know which scenes you're talking about.
Yeah. It's the joggers.
Yes. Yeah. The first time it happened, it was like,
Yeah. I see what you're doing here.
I see what you're doing there. But it kept happening.
And I'm like,
you're like, what's the payoff of this gonna be?
There's that feeling of like, I get it. I've seen The Shining too. We can
move on. Yeah.
Anyway, and with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
All right, there ain't no way this house ain't haunted. This place ain't haunted. This place has got to be haunted.
I was convinced of two things by the end of this movie. The house is haunted.
Yeah.
The main character's crazy.
Yes. The building possesses her by the end of it.
So if you were wondering, is she crazy? Is the place haunted? Both. It's both at this point.
Both.
The hotel basically fed on the resentment and the trauma and the anger that's already there.
Yeah.
For the people around her. In particular, you find out as one of the reveals later on, despite the fact that the movie has shown us getting her text messages.
Yeah.
She already killed her mom before the story began.
Yep.
One of the friends finds her dead in a hotel room that everyone was not allowed to go to. They weren't supposed to go to that floor.
Yeah.
Because there was flooding.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, flooding on the third floor?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
It turns out her mom is dead there. So all the text messages we've seen throughout the movie that she's been getting on her phone, not real, they're in her head.
Yeah, she's been sending them to herself.
Or the hotel's been, sending them. One of the two.
There's that scene near the end where it turns out she has both phones.
Oh, you got a good point. She's got her mom's phone.
Yeah, so she's texting
herself. Shit, I hadn't put that part together. Genius.
Yeah.
Fucking genius. I gotta give this movie even more credit.
Yeah. It was well done. It was like, oh, nice. I got it. There was only one time where I was like, why did they do that? And that was when the one girl puts down the chainsaw.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, why did you put down the chainsaw when the psycho killer is right over there?
Like, there's a point in which she's going after one of the women. The non-binary person comes out with the chainsaw to fight back. She sees that her friend is injured, runs over to her and puts down the chainsaw, even though the other person is right there that's killing people, which is the main character.
Yeah.
And allows her to just pick up the chainsaw and then chase them and ultimately kill them in a fucking parking lot that doesn't seem like it's connected to the hotel.
Yeah.
And I was actually wondering if that even happened, because everyone in that parking lot just keeps on with their day like nothing just happened.
Yeah, they make a point of making sure that you see that there are people wandering around this parking lot.
And so you're wondering, did she kill them before they even got there? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, or is like that part of the hotel's evil?
Yeah.
Like a Dairy Main situation where people are just like, oh yeah, whatever, and they just keep walking.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's the one thing that's a little left unanswered.
You know,
for me.
maybe that's talking about the invisibility of domestic violence in lesbian relationships, maybe.
Oh, yeah, like the whole
I wouldn't be
happens
surprised.
right in front of people. They don't care.
And they don't care. Yeah.
Maybe.
Like it might have actually been that may have
simple.
actually have been the metaphor there. Or it could have just been, you know what, no one's gonna see this because that hotel's a piece of shit.
You know, you got a point.
You know? Like it works either way.
I can see that. So one of the best elements of this movie is actually Molly Ringwald, because there's this reoccurring motif throughout the movie where the main character will be watching a video of this one real estate agent giving like a TED talk on how to run a business. And it's Molly Ringwald. And the main character is like using it as like motivation to like deal with her interactions with her friends. So she's getting like TED talk real estate like motivation.
Yeah. And like she gets more and more detached from reality.
Yeah. And then there's one scene where I'm pretty convinced she went to touch herself while she was watching it.
Yes.
It cuts before she does.
Yeah,
but you see her hand going down.
Yeah, I was watching that thing. I was like, if that hand goes south of the equator, we know what's supposed to be happening. And it did. And I was like,
yup.
What?
Yep.
Why is she beating off to random TED Talk lady?
Yeah, what the hell's going on here? And then to make things even weirder, she has a scene that's kind of like the equivalent of a combination of the scenes in The Shining when Jack Torrance is at the bar or when he's in the bathroom.
Yes.
When he's talking to the former hotel concierge guy.
Yeah. Words of wisdom, Lyle.
Exactly.
Words of wisdom.
She has a scene equivalent to that, but it's that lady that's been on her phone and trying to strike the deal to sell the hotel.
Yeah.
But she decides that she's not going to do that. And then after she decides she's not going to do that, they have this really close hug and she starts like mothering her. Like Molly Ringwald's character starts like mothering her. It's like, if I was your mother, I would be so proud of you or something to that effect.
Right.
And then later on in the movie, when we discover the dead body of her mom, we realize that Molly Ringwald was her mom and that she was most likely just interacting with either a version of her mom in her head.
Yeah.
Or the
like
hotel's...
or that's like the hotel's face.
Yeah.
know?
That took the shape of her mom in order to lure her in, because it's after that where shit starts to hit the fan.
Yeah, where it just gets nuttier, where the woman with the chainsaw starts like wandering through the house, and you're pretty sure it's
with the CPAP machine.
Yeah, with the CPAP machine.
Yeah.
And you're pretty sure it's the main character, but
yeah, because she's the one with the machine, right? But at the same time, the gothy chick was like obsessed with that machine, so
yeah, so you're like, well, I mean, it could be the other
and
one.
she's kind of like the red herring, because early on in the movie they kick her out of the hotel because she goes nuts.
Yeah,
because of all the stuff she's been seeing, and they don't believe her. They abandon her at the train station.
Yeah.
So when like a person in a mask starts showing up, like chainsawing random people, namely the dude who's there to fix the pool.
Yeah, there was like a pool guy.
Brian, Brian,
who, when you first meet him, you're like, oh, this is just a normal guy. And then as the scene goes on, you're
creepier.
like, okay, that's a little weird, dude.
When he starts putting on like fatherly dad voice while also hitting on her,
it gets really weird, and you're like, ew.
And then the movie even called him out on that, and I was like, oh shit, like they
did. Once again, very deliberate, very on purpose.
Like that dude gets fucking chainsawed in the fucking like storage room, I guess it was.
Yeah, they've converted one of the ballrooms into the storage room because like business is slow.
Well, there's no business right now while she decides what to do with it.
Yeah.
It's also very clear that the main character isn't fully aware of everything she's doing. She's kind of compartmentalized things.
Yeah, there are times when she's like, for lack of a better way of putting it, normal.
Yeah.
And then there is, I'm in an easily influential state because I'm having a trauma response. And that's when the hotel fucking moves in and does its thing.
And you can tell the hotel infects other people too, her other friends.
Oh, yeah.
Because they all start behaving exceptionally irrationally.
Yes.
by the end of the movie. Right down to that letting her just get the chainsaw.
Yeah, you're like, why did you do that?
And I understand it's a heightened emotional situation, but there's points where they go from 0 to 11 on emotion before it's warranted.
Yeah, where all of a sudden they're screaming at each other.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, where's this coming from?
Whoa, this just happened.
What?
And that's when you start to really feel like the effects of the hotel, because by this point in the movie, we've seen like the ghosts popping up, especially through the goth chick, seeing the 2 joggers popping up everywhere, as well as like the little girl with the frostbitten fingers, which we can assume is a younger version of the main character, that or someone else went through the same experience.
Yeah. And this is what we mean by like, it's kind of Shining rules, because not everything in The Shining is literally a ghost.
The fact that she sees like the little girl before she even hears the story about what happened to the main character. Yeah. Okay, that leads me to believe the hotel's 100% like showing her shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's showing her shit from the main character's past. So it's like whatever's happening to this hotel, it's latched onto the main character as like its conduit, its avatar.
Well, yeah, she's potentially the new character.
And her trauma is now the hotel's trauma. So she's kind of formed this relationship with the hotel inadvertently.
Yeah.
And given that the whole movie's about relationships, like it fits.
Yeah, it does. I was actually really kind of surprised that they didn't make the relationship with the hotel overtly sexual.
Yeah.
They kind of do it by proxy.
Like if you see that presentation of her mom in that one boardroom scene as being the hotel itself talking to her, then they kind of do?
Yeah, then they kind of do. But like I said, it's by proxy.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not literally like, trying to have sex with faucets and things.
Also, the hotel is a bitch. It like at one point sends the video of her infidelity to all the other friends.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, even the hotel's a petty bitch.
Yeah. The hotel is like the 5th bad girlfriend in the fucking movie,
It really is. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I expected when it started. And the more we talk about it, the more I like it. The more because things are coming together.
Yeah, it's a really clever movie. Mm-hmm. Definitely like A- B+.
I can see that, yeah.
100%. Like it's not mid.
If you're trying to compare it to like Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, it's going to fall
unfair.
short.
Yeah. It's
because that is such a brilliant work of art where every frame's a goddamn painting. And this movie doesn't have the budget to do something like that.
Yeah. That is not what this movie is trying to do, nor is it what it is about, but there's a lot of Shining love here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Though I do feel like the second time we see the 2 fucking joggers sitting side by side down the hallway.
Oh,
like the twins,
come jog with us.
I was just like, okay, if they say come jog with us, like this is it. It's over. They flew too close to the sun. Now they don't say that, thankfully.
No, they don't.
But you feel it.
Yeah. Well, like, I did appreciate that the movie kind of makes them a punchline.
Yeah, they do.
After a while.
Like, that's the thing that's really, like, early on, you're not expecting, but as the movie goes on, there is kind of a dark sense of humor at play.
There is,
as the movie continues. Even some of the yelling and screaming at each other is kind of funny at times.
No, it's a really good movie.
Again, Bad Things, it's available on Shudder. We are not sponsored by Shudder, but we're fans of the shit they do.
I guess you can find me on YouTube where I stream throughout the week. You could also follow me on Twitter at Counting Jack. You can follow me on TikTok at RealCountJackula. And I look forward to hanging out with you on the stream. How about you, man?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Mastodon. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below. And if you comment below, I want you to comment below with the hashtag #ComeJogWithUs. Use the hashtag #ComeJogWithUs. That way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows that you are a goth lesbian chick who just got your friend to cheat on her other friend, and you're going crazy, and they're probably going to abandon you at a train station and assume that you're a serial killer. And the world needs to know that.
Yeah.
If that's who you are, the world needs to know that. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.